So hello everyone. This is part 2 of the video that I uploaded last night titled, Who Did I Meet First, Malcolm Jamal Warner or Tyler Perry? So this is a continuation of that conversation. I do a fast track from 2008, the initial meeting, to 2021 when Tyler came to me in the flesh, and then I talk about the quantum leaps that occurred in January 2021 that showed me my future, where I experienced, Malcolm Jamal Warner, I experienced him in quantum leaps prior to him becoming part of Tyler Perry's access to my life, this criminal access to my life to violate it. So I'm just going to go ahead and press play, and we're going to listen, and then I'll pause it and make any clarifications that may be needed.
Briefly back over the divine timeline. So to recap, I experienced both of them in physical time and in physical space in 2008. Now let's fast forward to the pivotal shifts that happened thereafter. That's in December 20th, 2020, or the whole week of December. Like I think it might have been like the 18th or like a long weekend. 2020. That was a very pivotal, universal activation that occurred. Okay, and then in January, February, March, April, and May 2021, all individually very powerful, universal shifts that occurred in my personal spiritual journey that led to Tyler coming to me in the physical world. But I just want to backtrack so that we don't lose track of the relevance of Malcolm Jamal Warner, because he became very active in the beginning stages of this assault on my life. But because he ended up in my journal it was actually January 6th, 2021. And then also the spontaneous utterance that it wasn't even spontaneous. I told my sister, I was like, Malcolm Jamal Warner is going to be in my life again. And I have experienced it. So see, that's the difference between a psychic vision. And when I say psychic, meaning your own insights that are opened up, whether you flash into the future, or you recognize the direct path that's before you in a very vivid experience. So I'll just explain I'll explain it that way. But what was different about what occurred with Malcolm Jamal Warner being on that day in January in my journals and in my spirit in January 2021 was because I was having quantum leaps during that period of time. I was actually leaping to my future and seeing what was going to occur, in that this individual would have a direct touch in my life. So I was experiencing something that was happening in the future. So that is what is considered to be a quantum leap when you go to your future. So that had happened multiple times. It's happened, in the past, multiple times. There's some really major periods where I can talk to you if I had time, and I can just make another video, but I'll just say this so that I can remember to come back and visit the quantum leaps that I've had over my adult life and even in my childhood, which is pretty important, because if I'm really going back to the very beginning, I saw him as a... Hello, everyone.
Okay, so I stopped there. When I'm speaking of seeing him, I'm speaking of Tyler, who I did see as a child. I leapt forward into 40 plus years and saw him and us as an adult in our adult lives, and what would become our future together, or our future meeting. So I just touched on that because it's relevant in terms of the timeline and understanding how the future events that are to come were revealed to me in some way or fashion starting from being a child. And of course, being a young child and seeing Tyler Perry as an adult was was, to say the least, it was very confounding. So I did not, at that time, understand why I was seeing this man. It was, it shook me up a little, as a child. I don't want to overuse the word traumatized, but if I look back on it, I remember standing in the living room and experiencing this adult man in my childhood. So I make a joke, said that was trauma that my parents were actually not responsible for. But anyway, that's kind of a joke. But anyway, so that explains that aspect of, or at least introduces the aspect of me seeing my future as a child with him in it. And then going forward to 2008 when I was in the same physical space with him. And then 2021 when I had the vision, well, it was in March 16th, 2021, where it was revealed to me that our paths would be crossing in a very powerful and profound fashion. And then in April 2021, when he came to me in the flesh, and then May 2021, when the full control and aspect of my life, and from the criminal perspective, in terms of him trafficking me, began. Well, actually, it started in April. Actually, at the end of March, to be honest. But the worst parts of my initiation, which would be the sexual grooming that happened first in Frisco, Texas, and fast forward to May 2021 in Atlanta, where the trafficking and the live access and all of his activity with his peers on the other side of me, where the sacrificial part of my life became a muse for them to play with and to use me as what I call a voodoo doll, utilizing technology as their means to access me and to traffic me. So anyway, so that just gives you the initial time frame, and I will elaborate more on that as time goes on. And the more I am able to give you all the past and what is happening currently, it'll build the picture